All right. Well, we would love to welcome to the show Michelle Boss. She is a sex worker that has a platform on OnlyFans, TikTok, and Instagram. She has a long and winding career, beginning as a dental assistant for 15 years and then working as a lash extender, which I just found out what it was, for 5 years. And we are glad to have her on the show. Welcome to the show, Michelle.
Thank you for having me, Will. I appreciate it.
No problem. I am so happy that you've come on the show and like really are able to help understand this industry that's forming around TikTok and OnlyFans. But I think I want to go back and like start kind of at the beginning and just in your own words, give us a recap of your career thus far.
Where do you want me to start? Just from the very beginning to where it's at, or just where it's all come into OnlyFans?
Well, let's start with the dental assistant and just kind of like how that all progressed, like from there.
Okay. I started in the dental field after college didn't work out for me. I went to college for about a year and a half. It didn't work out, and it suited me. I fell right in. I moved a couple times with my ex-husband, and I was working when we were still together after we had two small children, and we were both working crazy schedules, and I was commuting the kids to two different places. I was stressed out to the max, overextended, and one of my girlfriends suggested, we were both getting lash extensions done, so she suggested, have you ever thought about doing it? You're good with your hands. You've been in the dental field, blah, blah, blah. So that one thing led to another. I got certified in that. I was able to start a career that was lucrative enough to leave my husband at the time to gain financial responsibility from him. And now within the past year and a half, since I've started OnlyFans, I am actually, I guess you call it, retiring from doing lash extensions because my career with that has been so successful.
Yeah, and I guess that's a great transition to say, like, why did you choose to go into sex work as a profession, and why did you decide that like TikTok and OnlyFans was the platform to do that?
It's funny. I almost feel like it chose me. It's weird to say, but with my current husband, him and I actually met on TikTok.
Okay.
It was during the COVID times, and he slid into the DMs, and we lived in the same city, so it was really kind of easy. And we started posting TikToks together, and one of them was a thirst trap, like beyond all means. We weren't intending for it to be, but it got over. It went viral, got over a couple million views or whatever, and then him and I, our sexual drive with each other, it was just like nothing I've ever had before. We had started hearing about OnlyFans and, different things with Pornhub and just all the different things. So we started exploring, and we actually started out on Pornhub, but things got leaked very quickly. Family found out very quickly. And so then we liked to have people have to pay to see our content. Whereas on Pornhub, you can do that, but starting out, you put it all on there for free, and you get paid for advertisements and things like that.
Right.
So, and then TikTok relates to it because it's a huge marketing platform for it, and it has exploded. And the more sex workers that you talk with that are in this industry, you will see that they have multiple accounts. You'll see them with different names all over the place, but it works. It's a marketing platform of a lifetime right now.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of discuss that because when I have TikTok, I scroll through it, and like I see people and they'll say, "Oh, like my account just got canceled. Like this is my new account," and I was wondering about the support of the platform. So like this platform has really developed in the last couple of years, and I've seen a lot of people on it, and I'm just wondering how you feel of the support and the tool as it is.
It's grown and gotten better over time.
Okay.
I think as they've learned to narrow down what their community guidelines violate and don't violate, they have gotten better with that, right? So you have to kind of learn very easy. It's a very like thin line though. You could cross it and the next day, boom, your whole entire account is down.
Right.
I had one of my accounts just recently taken down, but I was able to actually email support, which is something that I've never been able to do in the past. And they reinstated it because there are people that will report you. And I think the way that their AI works, they only have like a general thing until then it's taken to the next level of somebody else to actually see if your content violated or not.
So that's really interesting. I'm interested in this. So you met your new husband, you like had this, I know we talked about this before, like you kind of felt like you were sexually repressed by your former relationship, and this was kind of an avenue. So like, how did this career begin? You said you went on Pornhub. Was it just like, let's do this, like let's put a video on there and see what happens, and then like you transition? Like I don't know how like all of this starts, I guess. That's my question.
Yes, I mean that's basically where it started. You put some content out there, you see how it goes, you see what people like, and not every person draws the same crowd, right? Like,
right.
I'm going to do a collab this weekend, and it's with 6 other girls, and all of us draw a different crowd. So you got to kind of figure out what people see in you, and then you kind of alter as you go. We found out how much people were making on OnlyFans, even though OnlyFans takes 20%. It is ridiculous the amount of money that you can still make on OnlyFans. So that's why after our stuff got leaked, and we went to OnlyFans because of copyright reasons. So technically, if anybody ever screenshots your stuff and sends it to somebody else, it's technically illegal. Well, on a free platform, that's not the same.
Right.
Because it's once you pass that paid platform. So in a sense, we feel a little bit more protected. Plus, OnlyFans watermarks your content. So you have to get away from that watermark if it's going to be leaked. Now, being in the industry, I know I'm going to have leaks out there. It's just going to happen. But at least there's a way to minimize it a little bit.
So it's just like a part of the game that like your stuff is going to get out there. It's almost impossible to like. Yeah. So that's really, because I've been I've heard like interviews with other porn stars before in other platforms, and they said like OnlyFans is kind of like, they've referred to OnlyFans as like the minor leagues of this sector. Is that true? Am I like misinformed with like how the structure of this is? I'm not really sure.
Well, it depends on what you're comparing it to, I guess. Right. So OnlyFans is amateur. It's amateur compared to Pornhub or Brazzers or any of those big like production type scripted things. Now, OnlyFans still kind of, you have ManyVids and Fansly and all that. Yeah. I'm not on any of those platforms because this is enough as it is. Like, to run this plus all your other social media platforms, it's a lot. And to keep up with interactions. And I think what makes this an amazing platform is that it is amateur. So the people that are your fans, your subscribers, they get to know you on a more personal level than if they were going to Pornhub. And it's not something that's scripted. So and just a couple of weeks ago, I've met a few people that have been filmed in a production type with Pornhub, like in that type of atmosphere. And to me, that takes away so much of my personality. Like, and this is why you have bigger porn stars get OnlyFans, because they're tired of being scripted and they want to do whatever they want to do. And they want, they want to have sex with whoever they want to have, and they want to do it their own way instead of being scripted and produced and hair and makeup and all that stuff.
Interesting. So, and I wanted to go back to something you just said. You know, this takes a lot of work to try to like manage these platforms. Like, how many hours a week do you work? How many times do you post? Like, how do you manage your schedule?
So, it's a learning curve right now. And I always say that I traded in my 9 to 5 for a 24/7.
Okay.
it's about balance. So you have to be self-aware. You have to be self-aware of where your time is going. We try to take advantage of scheduling platforms. So OnlyFans does let you schedule out posts, but you start seeing that money come in, and it gets you like, okay, I posted one at 6 a.m. this morning, but I want to post one at 9 o'clock tonight. I mean, you got to think about when people's peak hours are and when they're going to be,
Right.
in the mood. But then you also have your TikToks, your prime times for TikToks, your prime times for Instagram, and now even Twitter. We've really been diving into Twitter. And when I say we, I've got my husband. He helps me manage all this stuff, and we're working on getting him retired now because it literally, I mean, it's a team effort.
Right.
Yeah.
That seems like you're running a small business basically, and it's
Basically.
yeah. So you say this is a more personal platform, working on OnlyFans and TikTok. How do you feel? Because I've always wondered about like the safety part of that. Like, do you feel more safe being able to have that, like, I guess almost like a buffer between you and the person, but like you are kind of breaking down that barrier. So I was just interested in that, because then you do interactions. So I'm sure you read comments, and I'm sure not all comments are the best. So yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, everything's been safe. I have had one person that we had to restrict. You're gonna get that. I can't say that I've ever not felt safe.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm traveling anywhere outside of my state, my husband's always with me.
Right.
So we haven't had anybody come up to me yet and be like, but I think I have very statement type tattoos, so they would recognize my tattoos before they'd probably recognize my face. But in that instance, I mean, I have to go with it, and hopefully my husband's with me.
So do you work? You said you work with other women in this field. Is that like a usual thing? Does that help grow like your platforms? How does those collaborations like come about, I suppose?
Oh, they're huge. They're huge. So we recently just got back from a collab in Tampa. And I mean, everybody's cross promoting on all their different socials. So we're on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And I probably gained, I don't know, 4,000 followers on Twitter just in that weekend alone. And which isn't a huge amount, but it's a decent amount. So it's another way to market. It's a great way to get more content. You have a ton of release forms, and people do their testing trades and all that stuff. So people are very safe about it. We're typically passing papers around, signing and taking pictures of IDs and all that stuff before anything starts to happen.
Are you independent contractors? Is that like I guess I'm just wondering if somebody was to hire you, I guess like a company or anything, you're an independent contractor, right?
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
We are getting ready to schedule a consult with on Instagram. She's called the Only Accountant. So she purely works with OnlyFans creators to help them set up their businesses, because you can get hit hard with taxes if you're not careful with this.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, it's crazy, because not only you getting 20% taken, your taxes are based on, of course, your gross, but we're looking at getting this as a brand now, Michelle Voss being a brand, and getting it LLC'd or whatever. We're going to consult with her and see what direction we should go.
Right. Well, that kind of is a good lead into, I'm sure, I mean, you tell me, oh, like the OnlyFans makes a ton of money. Somebody listening might be like, well, I should get an OnlyFans account. Let's just do that. What's the big, like some of the downfalls that like you've seen the mistakes that people have made when they may want to get into this industry?
Consistency and effort.
Yeah.
So OnlyFans has a referral program, and we've tried to help 2 people get their OnlyFans up and going, but you got to constantly be putting out content and put out the effort and making sure that you're marketing on all the other platforms. Because if you're not doing that, you're not going to win. Like, this is not a, I'm just going to go masturbate and make some money. It's work, because you can't market on and do sales on OnlyFans. You have to have the other platforms to help get your name out there and show people what you, in a sense, do, or what your kind of niche is if you have one.
Yeah, well, like you said, there are people who like you for you, and then and you have to find that group essentially.
Yep.
So there needs to be some sort of outreach, essentially, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's go. I wanted to kind of talk to sidestep and just say, like, let's go to the more human side of this too, and there's a lot of stigma around this industry, and how people work. This is there's a whole bunch of stuff like this, and
right.
You have children and a lot of the stuff, and you even mentioned it in the beginning about on Pornhub you saw things get out, and that really broadened the community. So what have you faced, and how have, I guess, you've overcome that stigma?
I'm not gonna lie. It was not easy at first. Right. So the first thing that got leaked, it got leaked to my dad and my bonus mom. My mother's not alive, and of course the ex sent it. But so when they first found out, I kind of got hit with some I can't believe you're doing this type stuff, and then I got hit with it's your body. You decide to do with it what you want. Yeah. And now as I've grown, I've learned to not give a fuck what other people think, because your opinion of me is none of my business. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then I recently just listened to somebody talk about, if you're a surgeon, you don't talk to your kids about the gory surgery case that you just had. So, that's why I don't talk to my kids about that just yet. Now, our oldest knows, but it's age appropriate of what he knows.
Right.
And it comes with time. So I think it's yes, it has a stigma, but it's more about what is in the own person's perspective. Because you have an outlook on this because of your the way that you were raised, right. In other countries and, different cultures and things, it's looked at completely different. So I've just learned to really just not give a fuck what other people think.
I'm
happy. I'm the happiest that I've been. My kids are taken care of. It's to me, because we're all happy and great, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And I remember we spoke before, and you said, what's really great about this work that you do is that you can mold it around your kids, your mm-hmm. kids, when you can pick them up from school and all that stuff, and you can mold your own schedule, which is
exactly.
nice. Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah, that's great. I know it must be hard. I know it's I'm sure it's difficult to have these kind of conversations moving forward, but the most important part is that you guys are happy, which is cool to see. And we kind of mentioned this before on our last call, and I was really loved your answer to this, and gives me kind of hope for humankind. But we were kind of talking about beauty standards, because I'm like, you got to be beautiful all the time. Not that you're not beautiful all the time, obviously, but there's a lot of preparation when it comes to performing live. So I'm really interested to hear how we spoke about before. I would have thought that it would have been a negative thing, because you got to put on the makeup all the time, you got to be there, you got to be on all the time. So but your perspective on it was great. So please share it.
Yeah. I think, again, this is one thing that sets this platform and the more professional platforms like Pornhub apart, is because we get to be ourselves. And I'm not a glam girl. I'm a kind of a Tom girl, and I like a little bit of makeup, not a lot. So I'm myself, and my fans, my subscribers, like me in a more natural look. I did a shoot with super greasy hair, no makeup, in my husband's t-shirt and some panties. And it was a great turnout. I was like, well, my hair was so great. Women ourselves, we get so caught up in this idea that we have to be perfect, and then I've got a mom belly, And you see these women with these flat bellies, and I'm like, just let it hang out, you know? So to me, when I feel more empowered from being natural, that helps me empower other women for being more natural. And I love that. The group of girls that I'm getting with this weekend, we're all moms. You know, none of us have had, you know, serious body altering surgeries or anything like that. And I think it's just, and they all have great followings too, because they're in their natural. So I think there's a lot to be said about that. And I hope that one day more women will start to embrace their sexuality and not feel so sheltered and feel like they have to hide themselves underneath this false persona.
Right. Well, I guess that's a good segue into like one of my final questions. Like, where do you see your career going? You know, like you were talking about, you know, retiring your husband. How do you see your career evolving in this space over the next like 5 years?
You know, with the way that it's growing right now, in the past 3 months, we have succeeded and kept and continuously grown. I mean, who knows where this could go? I mean, you don't know. The more collaborations that we have, the more people are seeing our name. You know, now we're having this podcast. I just reached out to another person about getting on her podcast. I've thought about starting my own. You know, this is never going to die. You know,
Right.
like porn's been around forever. There's going to probably become a day where I'm going to be like, I'm good. You know, I'm done. Let's chill out on a little bit. So whatever, I truly believe in what's meant to happen will happen. So whatever doors start to happen, to open at this next point, whatever it might be, you know, pivot. You know, maybe I'll write a book. Who knows? Who knows? Or maybe I'll, you know, go back to doing what but for right now, I'm full fledged doing this. So that way we can get him retired and we can keep traveling.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds awesome. I say it too because I talked to somebody from YouTube like a while ago and I was like, do you have you considered going onto TikTok? Do you think like your career in YouTube will sustain you? Because these, you know, TikTok has who knows what's on the horizon. There might be something like, is OnlyFans going to like launch their own TikTok? Who knows? So I was just wondering if you had any like insight in that, but it seems like you're just kind of trying to ride the wave at this point.
That is my motto. That is like I have a leg tattoo, and there's waves all throughout my tattoo because my life ever since I met my husband, it's been nothing but a wave, and you just ride it.
Well, it's really interesting that you said you travel all the time too. Do you travel solely for collaborations, or is this like for work? Like, are there conferences? I don't even know.
There's conferences that are sex work related. Yes, I haven't been to any because if I'm traveling, I need to be making money. So I'm typically trying to meet with someone while we're out and about. Now we have our anniversary coming up, so we're going to try our hardest not to work while we're on our anniversary. But I mean, we're probably traveling to 1 to 2 times a month.
Wow.
But we're talking, you know, that Nashville's this weekend. It was Tampa before. We're looking in Miami in a couple weeks. So,
man, the life of a jet setter. Okay, wow. Well, yeah, and I guess just to round us out and to keep on riding that wave, like please let people know where they can find you.
You can find all of my socials at michelleboss.com. TikTok is Queen Michelle Boss, and Twitter is Bods Michelle.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Michelle. This has been incredibly eye-opening, and I loved every second of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.